So if John had paid PAYE throughout the year of assessment, then you'll notice that the PAYE deductions page opens up first. All right. I know that John had not paid PAYE throughout the year of assessment, but should your taxpayer or client have paid in PAYE, you may stipulate on this page. All right. It's quite simple. You just enter in the amount, and it will automatically pull through on your summary pane. So I'm going to move over to provisional taxes. Here you will see the first period, the second period, and the third top-up period for provisional taxes. Okay, so I know that in the first period, John had not paid in any provisional taxes, but he did pay in the second provision. So I'm just going to click on capture data over there, and it will bring up the provisional tax return calculation page. You are more than welcome to select the last year assessed according to your taxpayer, the taxable income, and the full breakdown of that. So currently, I just want to record the previous provisional tax payment that was made. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly scroll down to the bottom. As you will see, here you are more than welcome to fill in any of the taxable income or how you would like it to be calculated in the current year, or you need 90% of the current year, and so on. All right. And all of the information below is there for you to use and fill in as much as you can. We know when it comes to working with multiple taxpayers, information can get messy. We can't always remember things. This is a great point to enter in your information and have a record of the prior year. All right. So it's easy for you to come in. Okay, let me go to my provisional tax calculation. What did the client pay? Instead of logging on to SARS, going into the return, taxpayer not found, errors. All right. So this is nice and easy. So you may fill in all of the relevant information. As you would see, I am currently on the current year tax year, and it will give you a breakdown of all of John's income and deductions. So like I said, I just have the amount that John had paid in the last provision, in the second provision, and that was, the due date was actually the end of February for him, and he had submitted this in February on the last day as well, because he needed to be extremely accurate in his estimate. So was it submitted? Yes, it was. And how much did John pay? So John knew that he was selling a property and there was a big capital gain. So he had paid in $12,500 for provisional taxes in the second period. All right. So I'm going to now save that. So once that is saved, you'll notice on your summary pane at the bottom, tax paid is 12,500 Rand, exactly what we recorded on our provisional tax. All right. So I just want to let you guys know that there's also help buttons throughout the calculators, almost everywhere that you can think of. There's help buttons there. It's a little question mark. And you're more than welcome to utilize this, read the notes should you feel lost or need some direction with the program within itself. All right, so just going back to capture financials, we're now ready. We're now ready to present our reporting to John, but first we need to see what it looks like. All right, so very simple, very easy to read, reports. We're looking for a report. All right, so once we click on reports, it'll bring us a list of options that you may require, maybe a specific calculation report. You may come in here and click on it. So for now, I want a taxpayer report that's going to show me the personal data, the tax office, the income received, the deductions, and the complete taxable data at the end. All right, so I'm going to leave all of those ticked. And I want to include a cover letter to John as well, just to make it look good and professional from my end. So I'm just going to click on that, and then I'm going to say generate. Okay, it'll open up another tab for you, And depending on your setup with your company logo and so forth, that will present itself on the cover page, all right? With a nice little watermark on the side saying confidential. That looks great. So picture your logo here and your client's information. That would be our cover page, all right? And all of that, as well as who it was created by. So that would be the user, which I am currently, all right? Moving on to the first page of the taxpayer data. Here you'll see a nice breakdown of the client's age, what he's taxed as, the period, and the marital status, and so forth, all right? So as much as information you fill in on your taxpayer data page, which is here, the more information you're going to get filled out on this. So you can see his email address, the cell phone number, the postal address, the residential address, and all of the information that I had filled in, okay? As well as the tax information. So just want to go over to the next page. Then it gives you a nice breakdown of the financial data that you've captured in. You'll see in the normal income, if you had taxable normal income. You'll see your allowances if you had an IRP5 and you captured in those source codes. It'll give you a nice list here. So here you could see the fringe benefits of the medical aid, local interest, the deductions. So that was the contribution. Those are the deductions, and provisional tax payments. All right. Then it gives you a tax computation, which is the best part for us. All right. So it gives us a nice breakdown of the gross income and how it was taxed and which bracket it had been taxed in. All right. So it's a nice, easy to read for us. And it's also easy to explain. The look of this and the feel of this will be very much simple to explain to a taxpayer or to your client. As we know, a lot of our clients and taxpayers come to tax professionals because they don't know all of the tax laws and how to apply them. So this report, if you're going into a meeting with your client, it's absolutely easy, 15-minute explanation on a basic report, all right, depending on your financial information of that taxpayer. So I'm just going to close that because now John wants to see a breakdown of the interest as well. So I'm just going to go to reports and I'm going to go to investment income, and I've clicked on that. I don't want to include the cover letter anymore because I've done that on the taxpayer data summary, and I just want to generate just the report just to show John a breakdown of what was inputted there. All right, John is confused. Why is there 23,800 being minus? Why is all of this? He wants an accurate report into SARS. You pull out your investment report, which we had local interest income for, and again it gives you a nice report prepared by, prepared for, as well as the age, a little summary of the information of your taxpayer, and a breakdown of the income entered. All right, so as you can see, it was 100,000. So in John's capacity, he was being taxed on 50% of that, which was 50,000, and the deduction, which is an exemption, the interest exemption, as I mentioned earlier, and the taxable portion of John's local interest. All right, so that's a nice report, quick and easy to read. It also gives you a date stamp on the bottom as well as a timestamp. So just for instance, you were working on a client and you've printed more than one report and you saved more than one report in their folder. You're unsure which was the latest one because the amounts are similar. There's your date and timestamp. All right, so that's a great feature to have on a report as well. I'm just going to close that and very quickly show you guys the medical aid report, as I've also entered in medical deductions. All right, so just having a look again, the same feel, the same look with the different calculator report. And it gives you a nice little description of your deductions and the contributions and so forth. Again, these reports are simple to read. It's absolutely easy to read. It's almost self-explanatory to me, except for when it comes to the tax part. And that we all know, that is why taxpayers need tax practitioners and so on. All right. So that's basically a feel of the calculators of the new cloud software. I think it's extremely easy. It's user-friendly, it's very easy to read, and it giving me a nice bright screen makes it so much easier to work on. Okay, so I now want to give you a little bit of a feel of the SaaS Connect, all right, which is really exciting. I'm excited about it. I would love to have a SaaS Connect on my software. Once I'm ready with my financial information and it's ready for submission, I don't want to go in and manually capture onto SaaS e-filing. I want to send it directly from my software. All right. So then I'm going to be ready to submit my information. I'm going to click on the SaaS icon on the left-hand side of the screen. All right. It'll bring up a list of your profiles that you would have already linked. For purposes of this demonstration, I had linked I had created one profile to show you guys, just give you guys a look and feel of the interface of it. All right. So I have one profile. If you do not have a profile, you will create one via SaaS e-filing, and you will click when you come into Taxplanner and you're ready to use that login, you will click on create login. It will ask you for the name, username, and the login key given by SaaS. All right. So I already have one. I'm going to select that one that I have. And once I've selected the relevant e-filing profile I'm going to be using, it will bring up this SaaS Connect page. Okay. So I do not have any taxpayers linked, not for this demonstration, but I'm going to show you that you will have a list of all your taxpayers here. You'll have a reference number, you'll have a SaaS ID number, the full name of your client, and you'll have a little button here that says linked to profile. So you'll know the status of each taxpayer, okay? On the operations side of it, I'm just gonna click on that tab, is where we do the exciting stuff, the easy stuff, all right? So now that we know we're ready, we can come in, select your profile, come into operations. We can, depending on your list, you have to link in your taxpayers. It's advisable to link in each taxpayer individually, as we don't want to confuse SaaS with the bulk linking and new taxpayers being created and we're not knowing what's going on. So again, it's advisable, please link each taxpayer individually as you're working with it, and so on. All right. So moving over to the SaaS operations, here you are going to be able to view the status of your returns, which will give you a pending, in progress, completed, or failed. And you will also have something called a drop-down with all types, where you could request your ITR 12s, request for a correction of an ITR 12, request for the status of your ITR 12, and you may also submit your ITR 12. All right. You can also, these is just a longer list of what's nice and blue on the side. It's easy options over here. So if you want to just request a tax calculation, you may request a tax calculation. With your income tax returns, you may request a return. You may request for a correction via this. You may request for the status of the return, or you may submit the return. All right. So same with the IRP 6s, which is your provisional taxes. You can request for a correction, the status, and the submission of your IRP 6. All right. So this is extremely user-friendly for me. The interface is great. I would love to work on this, but If for some instance I felt a little lost and needed some direction, I'll come again, I'll come here and I'll click on my icon and it'll bring up a nice little note with some guidance and direction for myself. Again, those help buttons are there for you to utilize. Just want to go into one of the calculators very quickly. And sorry, I need to click on edit. And you will click on the question mark. It'll give you a little description of what's needed to use the calculator and how to. All right, so that will give you a nice sense of direction there. Now, this help buttons are here throughout the program. You'd see even on getting started, you click on that, it'll give you a nice breakdown. You click on help, it'll give you a nice breakdown of where you of your landing page and what Taxplanner offers. All right, so that's basically the feel of a few of the calculators and a feel of the reports, a feel of how to use the system, which I think, in my personal opinion, is extremely user-friendly. So I hope you guys are excited. And we've now come to the end of the session where the floor is now open for questions. Please feel free to ask any questions based on the program or today's live demonstration. Thank you.
Michelle, for that awesome demonstration. Obviously, this recording will be available to every single person that registered for this webinar, even if you didn't attend. I see there are some questions coming through. Lance is saying, must you first import taxpayers before, or is it duplicates? Must you first import taxpayers before? Before what, Lance? Sorry, I just want some clarity on the question. Oh, you mean must you first add the taxpayer into Taxplanner before you can link it with SARS, before entering them in manually? All right, so obviously that would be a jackpot if you can enter the taxpayer first and then link it with SARS. The reason for that is, and that's also why we don't recommend that you do a bulk link, because sometimes it is, like you say, duplicates will be created if the SARS database cannot link directly to a taxpayer in the Taxplanner system. So let's say you've got a taxpayer activated on your tax professional profile with SARS e-filing, but that taxpayer is not in Taxplanner. Then Taxplanner will create like a ghost taxpayer, and it might not link correctly with the data in SARS. So really, to make sure that the data with SARS is linked to the correct taxpayer, create the taxpayer in Taxplanner first, and then you link it individually. So what is nice with this program, you can obviously copy taxpayers from one tax year to another. So you would then link those taxpayers individually, and then the ones that you haven't linked yet is obviously created in SARS, but not in Taxplanner. I hope that answers your questions. Then Jan is saying all spouses are not always prepared to disclose their investment income to one another. Yes, I'm very well aware. This means we need to mention this in the report. Is there a separate note available? Look, I think there's a lot we can do with the reporting. If we have to add in every single note that what we want to give to clients on every single report, it's going to become a little bit messy. So I think just from a tax practice point of view, maybe that is something that can be disclosed in an email and highlighted to the taxpayer instead of clogging the report. But that is a good suggestion. Yeah, Lance, I agree with you. It is much better to import from SARS. So let's say you don't have any taxpayers in your program and you now want to just download everything from SARS. That's awesome. You can do that. But it's now then your responsibility to go through each and every single taxpayer on your profile that has been downloaded into Taxplanner to now go and delete the ones that doesn't make sense. It also depends on how many taxpayers you have. Obviously, if you've got a smaller taxpayer base, not a difficult exercise to do. But if you're working with 1,000 taxpayers on your profile, it becomes a bit of a job. But yeah, you can do that. Definitely better to import from SARS for sure. No problem, Lance. Thank you so much for joining us. So I just want to mention, thank you guys. I do want to mention that, yes, we did make a big hype about our release tomorrow, but we feel that it's just before Easter. Most people are away. Nobody's going to look at the inboxes. Nobody's going to try out the software, maybe even only next week or the week after. So we thought, let's not release tomorrow. We're going to show you how the program works so you can also digest. And for those of you that couldn't attend today, to at least have a look at what the program offers. And then we are going to take an extra week or two just to test a little bit more. And there's 1 or 2 reports that we want to add just for extra value added. So yes, we wanted to release tomorrow, but because of the timing and April being full of disruptions, we feel that I can actually take an extra few days just to cross the T's and dot the I's. Okay, so watch out. We will send out a notification of when the software is released. But yeah, reach out to us if you need more information. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us. We will be hosting an event like this once a month. So if there are other interested parties, you can just reach out to us and we will send you the link. It will be free, of course. Cheers and have a good day.